legal drinking age does more than draw a line. It raises one. It elevates alcohol into something sacred, something that you have to earn. And in doing so, we unintentionally teach our kids that drinking equals maturity, that it's a ticket to the adult world, that once you have a drink in your hand, you matter, you are seen, you are heard. They said I had to wait until I was 18. And then when that day came, I didn't just walk into the pub, I walked into manhood. At least that's what it felt like. But why? Why does waiting to drink alcohol feel like you've leveled up in life? Why do we treat it like it's a reward, a rite of passage, a sign that you finally belong? Today, we're diving into the lie we tell our children and ourselves about what alcohol really means and what a legal drinking age actually teaches us long before we take our first sip. Hello everybody, my name is Davy. I'm not an alcoholic. I refuse to be anonymous. I am someone who lives a self-led life, alcohol free as fuck, and I spend every waking moment of that life helping other people do the same, like right now. The inspiration for today's podcast episode comes from an article that I read that arrived in my email inbox where somebody was going around the world seeing all the different age limits. And when it came to alcohol use, or you can buy it, etc., etc. And it ranged actually from no rules to 14 to 16 to 18 to 21 to absolutely banning it in the countries. And it got me thinking, and I wanted to do this podcast as a result of that. For those of you that don't know, I grew up in the UK. And when you grow up in the UK, you can't wait for that magic number. It's 18 in the UK, right? Not because I couldn't wait to taste lager, cider, or beer, but because I couldn't wait to belong. To walk into a pub and to be recognized as a human being who actually mattered. It wasn't about the drink. For me, it was about identity. And that's not just my story, because over the last 15 years on this podcast, I've been really fortunate to interview and coach hundreds of people who have become alcohol reliant, and their stories really echo the same theme. It wasn't about alcohol. They were drinking because they wanted permission. Permission to be seen, permission to be accepted, and permission, and this is the big one, to feel like an adult in a world that constantly made them feel like a child. You see, the legal drinking age does more than draw a line. It raises one. It elevates alcohol into something sacred, something that you have to earn. And in doing so, we unintentionally teach our kids that drinking equals maturity, that it's a ticket to the adult world, that once you have a drink in your hand, you matter, you are seen, you are heard. So even before we even taste alcohol, the liquid lie is already in our bloodstream, telling us that drinking alcohol means reward, telling us that it's the price of connection, telling us that we're not enough until we hold a glass and fit in with a certain tribe. But here's the thing. Even though the legal limit is 18 in the UK, 21 in the US, kids aren't waiting until that age to drink alcohol. They're drinking alcohol at their friend's house. They're getting older mates to buy it in the off license. They're nicking it from their parents' cupboards. Hell, some of their parents, particularly where I grew up, the culture is they allow their children to drink underage and they don't care about it. Even some sporting cultures, rugby in South Wales, for example, when you're playing youth rugby, alcohol is actively encouraged, team bonding, for teenagers. So what's the real message here? That alcohol is dangerous, but only dangerous before an arbitrary number? I don't think so. That is a poison until midnight on your 18th birthday and then suddenly it's a celebration. Let's not kid ourselves. The rule isn't working because rules don't teach wisdom. Culture does. And our culture still treats alcohol like a crown. It's a status gig. It's belonging. It's your initiation into adulthood. And that message, it sticks harder than any legal limit you can imagine. And we're going to take a short break. But before we do, I want you to reflect on this. When did you first believe that alcohol made you cool, mature, or worthy of attention? Was it something you chose, or was it something you inherited? Let me sit with that, and I'll see you in a moment. Welcome back to the 1000 Days Sober podcast, where today we've been exploring what a legal drinking age actually teaches us, and more importantly, what it hides. Because let's get real for a minute. If alcohol is so dangerous, we have to make it illegal until a certain age, then why is it ever framed as a reward? This is the beating heart of the liquid lie. We're not protecting our children. We are preparing them to rely on alcohol, to chase it, to see it as a badge of honor, to feel less than until they can hold a glass with the rest of the tribe. And then when they do, they don't sip slowly in some civilized rites of passage. They binge and they black out and they spiral and they do things that will stick with them and will mark them for the rest of their life because they were never taught how to relate to alcohol. They were taught to revere it. And this is why I say the legal age is a scapegoat in many stretches, because it gives us an excuse to avoid the real conversation, which is, why do we need alcohol at all? We don't ask that question because the answers are really uncomfortable. It's easier to argue over 18 or 21 than to ask, well, why does alcohol have so much power in our lives? And the truth is, alcohol thrives because it sells us the 6 needs that Strive exposes: safety, tribalism, reward, intimacy, validation, and escape. And the younger we learn those promises, the deeper and the more embedded those hooks go. So here's my invitation for you today. Don't just rebel against the system, rebel against the whole goddamn story. The one that says you need alcohol to feel like someone, because you don't. You already are someone. And the moment you see that, the moment the liquid lie loses its grip. You ready to take today's vow with me? Today, I will not drink because I refuse to play by the rules of a world that told me alcohol was the key to manhood. I will honor the child within me who didn't need booze to be seen, just needed love. And I will raise my own children, not with rules, but with truth. They don't need to earn adulthood by poisoning themselves. They just need to remember who they are. The legal drinking age is a number, but the liquid lie is a belief system. And belief systems don't change with birthdays. They change with awareness. And real awareness starts right here at the 1000 Days Sober podcast. As you go about your day today, please reflect on these questions. What did alcohol symbolize for you before you ever tasted it? What part of you still believes it's the key to connection or adulthood? And what would it look like to raise the next generation without that belief? Interesting, right? If this episode got you thinking, please rate and review the show. It really helps us to reach more people. And subscribe as well. That does the same thing. If you are interested in learning more about being alcohol-free as fuck and living a self-led life, the Strive Foundations workshop is for you. Please email me at thestrivemethod@gmail.com to find out more about our wonderful program. 20 workshops for the knock down, drag out price of £47, okay? Just a few pints of lager. All right, take the sovereign vow before you go home. Big deep breath. Settle yourself. I am a striver who is alcohol-free as fuck, and I will not drink because that is not what I do, and that is not who I am. Until tomorrow, everybody, much love and strive on.